Strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that's strength. A quote from actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a trying time for many, especially as we approach the Yuletide season. Let us continue to be our brother's keeper and weather these trying times together. Coming up, first-hand accounts of Hurricane Melissa's wrath from residents of St. Elizabeth, plus key changes to the Public Procurement Act are explained. There's also the top news stories of the day and much more. I'm Jabertha Atkinson, and this is Jamaica Magazine.
Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to secure your property ownership. Get a registered certificate of title and become the legal owner of your property. To register your property and obtain a certificate of title, you will need to provide a tax registration number (TRN), a valid government-issued identification, a survey diagram, documentation to prove ownership, up-to-date property tax certificate, the names, addresses, and occupations of 2 neighbors over the age of 50 who are not family members and can give a declaration on your behalf. Proof that you have been in open, undisturbed, and undisputed possession of the property for 12 years or more. For further information on registering your property and obtaining a certificate of title, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or message us at WhatsApp at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal to serve you better.
Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan and this is your JS News for Thursday, December 4, 2025. Minister of Finance Favour Williams says the government has already begun the work of increasing Jamaica's disaster finance coverage for future events, even as the country benefits from payouts triggered by Hurricane Melissa. In a statement to Parliament on Tuesday, Minister Williams revealed that the country's disaster financing with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility (CRIF) was already reinstated up to $91 million and discussions were underway towards increasing that coverage. This precedes the addition of a $6.5 billion facility to the multi-layered National Natural Disaster Risk Financing System in March to bring the total amount available to Jamaica to $130.6 billion.
The government's continuous process of reviewing and improving disaster management plans and infrastructure standards show an institutional ability to adapt and to learn from previous events, reinforcing long-term resilience.
The Finance Minister says government is also committed to the further development of the microinsurance market and encouraging Jamaicans to develop a culture of personal insurance for their homes.
Of note, Madam Speaker, CRIF, which is what we call them, will be launching a micro home insurance product through Guardian this month in Jamaica, designed for workers. This is the beginning of building a culture within our population of having insurance for their homes.
The House of Representatives has approved an order permitting the temporary suspension of the country's fiscal rules, giving the government flexibility to increase spending as necessary to adequately respond to Hurricane Melissa's impact. Jamaica's fiscal rules are essential targets designed to keep our national debt low and promote long-term economic stability. But there is legal provision for its temporary suspension in the case of exceptional circumstances, like a major natural disaster that requires immediate, large-scale government action. On Tuesday, the Finance Minister explained that the Independent Fiscal Commission had verified that the hurricane's impact on the economy exceeded the 1.5% of GDP stipulated by law to guide suspension of the fiscal rules.
It states that based on the information provided by the Planning Institute of Jamaica and the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, the fiscal impact is estimated at 5.3% of GDP over the period fiscal year 2025-26 to fiscal year 2029-30, well above the legislative threshold of 1.5% to trigger suspension of the fiscal rules.
In keeping with the legal provisions, suspension of the fiscal rules is for an initial period of 1 year, after which the Ministry of Finance will present a case for its extension if warranted. In the meantime, Minister Favour Williams says Jamaica's debt as a percent of its gross domestic product, GDP, is expected to climb to 68.2% by the end of this financial year, driven largely by the impact of the hurricane. Prior to the hurricane, Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio stood at 62% and was on track to reach 60% by the end of this fiscal year, 2 years earlier than planned.
In the medium term, starting with fiscal year 2026-27, we project that the debt to GDP ratio will begin again to decline, and we're expecting to see that at 66.1% and then to 63.8%. Followed by 63.4% in fiscal year 2028-29, and settling out at 64.2% by fiscal year 2029-30.
The government will be using funds raised through the Support Jamaica portal to purchase building materials to assist in rebuilding homes damaged by the hurricane. During a press briefing yesterday, Information Minister Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon announced that the decision was taken by Cabinet on Monday. She explained that houses identified for rebuilding would be based on assessments done by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. The ministry has already commenced field assessments, which include identifying and geotagging affected locations.
And so the money will be used to buy material that can then be traced to the individuals who have gotten it.
The rebuilding process will be spearheaded by the Jamaica Defence Force, working in partnership with an engineering corps from Guyana.
Guyana has committed to rebuilding 200. The JDF can do an additional amount. The majority of those houses will be done in East Westmoreland. Yes, East Westmoreland. And the Member of Parliament has already been told this, and he is working to identify individuals.
The National Water Commission, NWC, has acquired 12 trucks to help ease the water woes of residents, particularly those most affected by Hurricane Melissa. Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change Matthew Samuda has welcomed the new trucks, which were bought at a cost of $200 million.
This is yet another investment in the resilience of the water sector in Jamaica. Any analysis, any plan to achieve national resilience to climate change and to other shocks must contemplate a resilient water supply. And we have been tested over the last 4 years, certainly, by climatic events.
The trucks were acquired using the emergency procurement process, and Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, who was present for the handover, highlighted the importance of measures to expedite regular procurement procedures as necessary.
There must be a way in which compliance can be accelerated so that the customer not only gets the monetary and accounting value, but also gets the value in service. Because can you imagine if we had to go through the regular procurement process, what would have happened to the people in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth and Hanover and parts of St. James and Trelawney, who will now benefit from having a greater supply of water?
The Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, is moving to fast-track Jamaica's agricultural rebound with plans to rehabilitate more than 85,000 square feet of greenhouses and 105 square feet of nurseries. CEO of RADA, Garnet Edmondson, gave the update during a Recovery and Resilience Forum held this week at the Ministry of Agriculture's headquarters in Kingston. The initiative will be done to restore protected cultivation and clean planting systems that were devastated during recent weather events. Mr. Edmondson says the interventions follow a rapid damage assessment across all 14 parishes, which revealed extensive losses to infrastructure, crops and farm systems.
We have also started to make contact and pull on board our private greenhouses that presently in production of seedlings. So in another 2 weeks' time, we'll be distributing another batch of seedlings to farmers. For irrigation, as you have seen, our partner from NIC is here with us, and the RADA engineers are assessing damages and restoring systems across the island.
Meanwhile, the authority has already begun distributing fertilizers, with 1,000 bags delivered across several parishes.
Come this week, we'll be in the parishes of St. Anne, Manchester, Trelawney, and over the Yam Belt to distribute over 5,000 bags of fertilizer.
Mr. Edmondson also reveals that RADA has developed a $2.7 billion farm road rehabilitation program with $800 million already committed. More than 300 farm roads were reported damaged. RADA's CEO says climate-smart agriculture will be a key pillar of the recovery push, strengthening the sector's resilience ahead of the next hurricane season. And finally, Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ says it is working urgently to resolve technical issues that have stalled the processing of same-day driver's licenses across all tax offices. The disruption, which followed a recent scheduled maintenance exercise, has affected both new applications and driver's license renewals. TAJ says all other services, including tax payments and motor vehicle-related transactions, remain unaffected and continue to be available to the public. Motorists are being advised to submit a completed driver's license application form and an uncertified passport-sized photograph, along with their receipt for payment, to process delayed physical licenses. In the meantime, affected motorists will legally be allowed to operate a motor vehicle for up to 60 days using the payment receipt, together with their expired license. TAJ says customers will be notified once their printed license is ready for collection. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.
On Finance Matters this week, we examine key changes to the Public Procurement Act with help from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
Big changes are shaking up the way business gets done with the government of Jamaica. The public procurement process has been refreshed, streamlined, modernized, and designed to open new doors. But what exactly has changed, and how could it impact you? Hi, I'm Suzelle Ray, and welcome to Finance Matters. Today we discuss all the key changes to the government's public procurement process and how it will drive efficiency and improve productivity. Joining us to discuss and tell us more about this is Jovel Barrett, Chief Public Procurement Policy Officer within the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Threads to see all the episodes and highlights. Mr. Barrett, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Firstly, there has been an increase in the GOJ procurement thresholds. Can you tell our viewers what those increases are and what key changes have been made to the Public Procurement Act?
All right, so when we talk about thresholds, there are two types of thresholds that have been increased by the recent amendments to the Public Procurement Act as well as the Public Procurement Regulations. One threshold that has been increased is the contract approval limits, which deals with Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 contracts. Tier 1 contracts are those that require approval by the head of entity alone. Tier 2 contracts are those that require approval by the head of entity and the Public Procurement Commission, and Tier 3 contracts are those that require approval by the head of entity, the Public Procurement Commission, and the Cabinet. Now, the Tier 1 limit has been increased from 30 million to 60 million, and the Tier 2 limit has been increased from 60 million to 100 million. And so Tier 3 contracts are those contracts that are above $100 million. Those limits have been increased. The other set of threshold limits that have been increased by the Competition Threshold Order 2025 are the competition thresholds dealing with restricted competition, open national competition, and open international competition. And so the thresholds vary depending on whether or not you're procuring goods and services or works. For example, if you're procuring goods and services for single source procurement, that threshold has been increased to $3 million. And if you're procuring works for single source, that threshold has been increased to $5 million, and so on and so forth up the ladder.
Mr. Barrett, there are so many new changes and amendments to the legislation, but what does it mean for small businesses who want to bid for contracts, as well as new businesses who want an opportunity to work with the government and do business with the government?
Well, Suzelle, one of the important change that was made in the Public Procurement Amendment Act 2025 is an amendment to Section 23, which makes it clear that essentially the default method of procurement should be open competition, right? And so that includes open national competition or open international competitions, which invites bids from an unrestricted number of suppliers, depending on whether or not it is international or national. And what that means, Suzelle, is that new persons who are coming into business, who want to do business with government, have the opportunity to participate in those open bidding and to be able to succeed in winning a contract with the government.
Do these changes impact transparency and accountability in how contracts are awarded?
Another of the key amendments to the Public Procurement Act in Section 23 is that it requires procuring entities to include in the record of the procurement wherever they deviate from the standard of open competition. So for example, if they use restricted bidding under Section 24 of the Act or single source procurement under Section 25 of the Act, they need to state in their records and have put down the reasons for deviating from open competition. And so auditors and anyone coming to review the file will be able to see what reasons were given for deviating from open competition. And so that will allow for greater transparency in procurement proceedings.
And this makes the process more transparent and everyone can see what's happening. I think that's a very good move. Mr. Barrett, all these changes are happening, all these amendments. Yes. What is the Office of the Public Procurement Policy doing to sensitize suppliers and procuring entities about these changes so they can act accordingly?
Well, first thing, so there have been a suite of amendments to the public procurement framework. One was the passing of the Public Procurement Amendment Act 2025, which came into effect on the 27th of March 2025. There was the Public Procurement Competition Thresholds Order 2025, which came into effect on May 16th, 2025, as well as the Public Procurement Amendment Regulations 2025, which came into effect on July 7th, 2025. After these suite of amendments were passed, the Ministry of Finance released Circular Number 11 to Cabinet Secretaries, Permanent Secretaries, heads of departments, heads of procuring entities, notifying them of all of these changes. And so that was one of the first things that was done. On August 21st, the office also hosted a webinar which invited a number of procurement practitioners and stakeholders. We hosted about over 800 persons where we outlined what the amendments are and what it means in practice. We will shortly be releasing on our learning management system a course dealing with the amendments so persons can go on and learn about the amendments, take quizzes to ensure that they really grasp what the changes mean for them and what it means in practice.
So what I'm hearing is that the ministry is taking a strategic approach to informing procuring entities and suppliers about the changes that have been made to the Public Procurement Act. But as we go, tell us 3 things to remember about the changes to the Act.
All right. One is that the contract approval limits have been increased. Tier 1 limit has been increased to 60 million. Tier 2 limit has been increased to 100 million, and Tier 3 contracts are those that are above $100 million. The second important thing to remember is that the Act now requires that the default method of procurement should be open competition, and that procuring entities are only allowed to limit competition in limited circumstances outlined in sections 24 and 25 of the Act. And finally, all of the changes are posted on the website of the Office of Public Procurement, which may be found at procureja.gov.jm.
Mr. Barrett, thank you so much for coming on our program today and telling us about the changes to Jamaica's public procurement process. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
I'm Major Towers. Hurricane Melissa has tested us. Many communities are hurting. Some have lost homes, some have lost livelihoods, and families are grieving loved ones. We see the pain, and we are with you. So the Jamaica Defense Force has been on the ground from the very beginning. Our soldiers have been clearing roads, delivering supplies, evacuating the vulnerable, restoring access to community, and supplying shelters across the island. We're also working closely with ODPEM, the JCF, local authorities, and international partners to ensure that relief reaches every community that needs it. We will rebuild together.
Let's journey to St. Elizabeth, one of the parishes hardest hit by Hurricane Melissa, to hear from residents who weathered the storm. The event of October 28 was very traumatic for many, so if you need professional help, call the Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Helpline at 888-NEW-LIFE. That's 888-639-5433. Widespread devastation. That's what remained after Category 5 Hurricane Melissa's visit to St. Elizabeth. Like roots holding fast in a storm, families clung to one another for survival. Homes barely standing, and livelihoods a bit lifeless.
Basically, we're getting a lot of rains Monday night, going into Tuesday morning, and Tuesday morning around 8:30. The breeze started to intensify, and the breeze was blowing and blowing, and two sheets of the zinc from behind and of the back room blow off, and after two sheets of zinc and the back room blow off, then the breeze started to take off the rest of the zinc off the house top, and the house started to crumble. It was me and my grandmother and my two cousins. We were over the side of the house, and when we realized the house started to crumble, you know, my cousin run out and I take out the little baby, and then I tell my grandmother that we have to leave out, and my grandmother and myself we went up by my mom's house. Luckily, my mom's house is a concrete house where we found shelter.
I was inside and, and I was praying and asking the Lord to keep us, stand by us, and to have mercy upon us, because we have no one to depend upon but Him. And then when we see this terrible storm coming, we get, we get panic, and we say, we're going to come outside, come up here. So we get outside and we come up here, and by the time we reach up here, we hear everything start falling away, falling apart. But so I just leave everything in the hands of the dear Lord, because I know He is able. He is able.
Grandma's experience mirrors a popular gospel song with the lyrics, "Though my ship may be rocking and my sails may be torn, I shall rest in the eye of the storm."
When I see 5 hours gone, I say, Father, ease it up for us now. That time it started. That time the rain and the breeze started. Although they cost me in, but me still afraid. Me still I wonder if it ever break down. If it ever break down to the amount of rain and breeze and oh, you know how after it's going on. And when you look outside, you can't even see outside out here dark and everything. Me still have a fear. Say I wonder if the coast ever broke down. Everybody get a little touch of something. Somebody glass if the house is not so, somebody glass who have glass damage and all them leak out and so.
And as if that wasn't already a lot to deal with, more family members needed refuge.
What I get from my cousin is that she said after she realized that the house top came off, she and her brother and her baby, they took refuge underneath the bed. And about in the 4 o'clock when I realized that the breeze cooled down a bit, my cousin run up there with a sheet to rescue the baby and my other 2 cousins, and they came down. So from that, they are here with us also, taking shelter here by my man's house also.
A weather system that not only moved over the western parishes, but also generations of a family, from the old to the young.
You know, we have to try and cope on a daily basis. No? It's not easy, but we have to try. We have each other to talk to and try to comfort each other, try to pick up back the pieces one day at a time. It's not going to be easy.
Some residents suffered loss to their livelihoods. Trees that were once full of life and fruitful potential, now reduced to bare branches.
The whole light blow off, man, see everything I made me lose all about. I have 3 workers me lose, I have about 10 bushel of peanut. This is my head pan there, so I lose, I lose my goat. Better me I tell you, say that's why I hang up. For me I try to hold down the corner there, for the corner you put. And I hang up panic. And it a flash me, so I want to ball back on my back side. Me and my wife was going and my daughter wasn't here. And it's a good thing he wasn't here, if I told the kids wouldn't be damaged.
In spite of it all, the will to rebuild remains strong.
Just put on the tap for serious sinners. Just this a room, this front room. If I tap the door for me set it up, so I'm gonna have no way else.
From zinc to concrete, fear to faith, school to home, St. Elizabeth stands. Hurricane Melissa may have stripped the land bare, but it could not strip away the strength of its people. To support the National Disaster Relief and Recovery effort, visit supportjamaica.gov.jm. This is Voices from the West after Hurricane Melissa. As we close the show, here's a quote to keep you each day. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. That's from Nyat Han, a Vietnamese monk and peace activist. Join us tomorrow when we bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you are online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Jabertha Atkinson. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.